The Reaper. What if Deku was part of the Assassination Classroom? By Ray of Frost. Chapter 8. Entrance Exam. It was February. Entrance exam season. Hitoshi and Izuku strolled into UA like they owned the place. Itana already had his exam for the support course. The gates were crowded with hopeful hero students in middle school uniforms. The duo from 3E was wearing tactical gear they received from the military to assist with their training. The UA entrance exam let you bring whatever you wanted to the practicals, so the two were armed to the teeth. Not that the random middle schoolers around him needed to know that. The UA written exam was child's play compared to the ridiculous tests Kinigiakwa conducted. The middle school tested its students to the point it was borderline torture, and Izuku was all but a certified genius. Nezu was baffled by the near-perfect score from the boy, and similarly confused by the almost as good score from Hitoshi. The tests were designed to be impossible so that he could gauge precisely where all the students were academically, yet there were these students almost getting perfect scores on the impossible test. Hitoshi and Izuku were split up for the practical exams, so a team-up was off the table. Izuku made his way to his testing zone and double-checked his armaments. He had high-powered cattle prods intended to short-circuit the robots, a hunting knife, some rope, a grappling hook, and a crowbar. He wanted to bring some explosives, but Koro-sensei had forbidden it for safety reasons. Hitoshi had guns instead of cattle prods. A few students caught Izuku's attention. A blue-haired kid with glasses and exhaust pipes in his calves, a girl with a bright smile and strange finger pads, and some sparkly French guy. Izuku stood directly in front of the gate, as if glaring a hole through it. His hand drifted to the cattle prod, pulling it out of its holster. He was turning the device on when a hand gripped his shoulder. "Hey, are you allowed to have that?" The blue-haired kid robotically chopped his hand in the air while he talked to Izuku in a chastising tone. "Does it have something to do with your quirk?" Izuku glared at the boy, and then changed it to a sickly sweet smile after realizing it was the kid that interrupted President Mike during the debriefing for the test. "Wow! First you interrupted teacher, and now you're distracting one of your fellow participants? Are you even taking this test seriously? How unbecoming of a hero hopeful." Izuku quoted a few things he said to a kid who was a stuttering ball of nerves during the debriefing. The boy was taken aback by the belligerent response, his hand motions becoming more aggressive, but he was too shocked about his own words being used against him to form a proper retort. The boy managed to scoff before the gates opened. Then Izuku launched into the fake city hosting the exam, ignoring the boy's protests. The streets were littered with robots, which Izuku dispatched with electric shocks from the cattle prod. The teachers in the observation room watched in awe as their hero applicants from Kinigigawa took down the robots with brutal precision. They hopped from rooftops and robotic corpses with practiced grace and brandished their weapons like seasoned pros. "So, is that kid allowed to have guns?" a skinny blonde man in the observation room asked. UA's principal, a rat, mouse, bear? Yeah, it doesn't matter, he's the principal. UA's principal Nezu turned to look at the skinny man with his beady eyes and unnerving smile. "There are no restrictions on gear students are allowed to bring, within reason of course, but it would be illogical to ignore skills that aren't quirk-related." "I see," the man said. Suddenly, Nezu slammed a paw onto a bright red button. The city shook as the massive zero-pointers began moving. The sadistic principal cackled as the examinees ran from the skyscraper-sized robots in utter terror. Then it was those kids from earlier. One with green hair and one with purple. The purple-haired one was quite impressive. He took charge of the situation and organized a proper evacuation. The The greenette seemed far more reckless, but his every move was thoroughly thought out. The kid rushed to a girl trapped under some rubble and pulled out the crowbar that was strapped to his back and his rope. He tied the rope around a nearby streetlight and the chunk of concrete that pinned the girl, and he used the crowbar and the makeshift pulley to extricate her. Carefully, to not further injure the girl, he carried her away from the incoming monstrosity, Nezu called a robot. His ingenuity piqued the principal's interest, and his blatant heroism impressed the skinny blonde man. 2 weeks later, the UA acceptance letters were delivered. Much to his mom's chagrin, Izuku decided to open his letter at school with Hitoshi and Hawks. He was buzzing with anticipation as Hitoshi opened his letter. The sun-projected form of Eraserhead startled the trio, causing Hawks to squawk in surprise. The projection began speaking in a tired voice. Hello, Hitoshi Shinzo. Congratulations on placing first in the practical portion of the entrance exam. You had the third most villain points out of all of the participants. However, there is a second part of the exam. Rescue points are also awarded to those who help their competitors and rescue them from dangerous situations. Your evacuation plan earned you many of these points and pushed you into first place. Welcome to the Hero course. I'll see you in Class 1A. The projection closed and a few pages of important information were enclosed in the envelope. Then the attention shifted to Izuku and his sealed envelope. I am here as a projection! The booming voice of All Might played from the device. Congratulations on passing the entrance exam! The trio shared a questioning glance before the number one hero continued. You placed first on the written portion of the exam and second in the practicals. The points you gained from taking down robots were quite impressive, but you really shined in the hidden portion of the exam. Your quick thinking saved one of your fellow competitors in the face of imminent doom. Welcome to Your Hero Academia! The recording ended, and Izuku noticed a message on the bottom of his projector. Please come to UA this Saturday at 10 a.m. Bring this projector. That's strange, Izuku thought out loud. Hawks took the device to examine it, Hitoshi looking over the pro's shoulder to get a peek. Well, isn't that strange, Hawks murmured. We should totally bug you. I want to know what they want with you, Hitoshi interjected. We can use one of my feathers, Hawks suggested. That would work. I mean, I was planning on spilling the beans anyway, Izuku added. Chapter 9. Government Secrets. The UA gate stood tall and proud as they glistened in the early morning light. Izuku had one of Hawks' feathers in his shirt pocket, listening to his surroundings. He is greeted at the gate by a tall but skinny blonde man and Principal Nezu himself. Hello, Midoriya, the principal greets. Please come inside. There is much to discuss. Hitoshi and Hawks stared at each other in disbelief as they eavesdropped on Izuku's conversation. Itana was busy messing with a random device. He was the one that built the machine that Hawks is using to translate the vibrations from his feather into sound. What the hell? Hitoshi whispered. Is that something you knew about, Mr. Number 3 Hero? No, this sounds like some top secret government stuff that not even I'm allowed to know. Hawks sighed. I wonder how much trouble we'd get in if they knew we were listening. I still can't get over All Might actually being some skinny guy most of the day. At least we know why there aren't any candid photos of him buying groceries. The commission definitely knows about his time limit, but I get the feeling his quirk is only known to a select few, and I don't think that includes the HPSC. We won't tell another soul about this. Not our secret. The hero looked at Hitoshi with a furrowed brow, and the boy nodded in acknowledgement. Their little conversation was cut short when they heard Izuku's voice come over the translator. There are a few things I must make abundantly clear, All Might. I can take the quirk, but I won't be the next symbol of peace. I will be a hero, an underground hero. All I want to do is save people, and my talents show best in underground work. Do not expect me to shoulder your legacy, because I will be my own hero, not your replacement. Those are my conditions. All Might took a moment to respond. You truly have the heart of a hero. I commend you for your commitment to your goals and ideals. I will accept your conditions, young Midoriya. Now, eat this! The room fell silent, both at UA and where Hawks and Hitoshi were listening from.
What the hell?
Hawks and Hitoshi shouted in unison. They calmed down when All Might explained how the quirk was transferred through the ingestion of DNA, but Hitoshi gagged at the mental image of having to swallow a strand of the number one hero's hair. So, Izuku has a quirk now, Hitoshi stated in disbelief. Holy crap! You mean to tell me the only instructions he gave you on using the quirk was to clench your butt cheeks and yell, "Smash"? Seriously? Hawks was up in arms. All Might was a terrible mentor. Let's think about this as logically as possible. Based on the minuscule amount of information All Might gave you, your body probably isn't ready to handle the full brunt of your quirk. Izuku had made it clear that the quirk was his now and should be addressed as such. I think that we're on our own when it comes to figuring this out, Izuku sighed. Now we not only have to find out how to kill Koro-sensei, but how my ridiculous quirk is supposed to work. Wait, does Koro-sensei know about your quirk? Ituna asked. Ituna and Ritsu had been informed that Izuku had a quirk. They knew he was previously quirkless, but they didn't know the details of how he got the quirk. No, he doesn't, I think, Izuku replied. We should take advantage of that, Hitoshi chipped in. Yeah, new type of ambush, Izuku added. We still need to figure out how to activate it without exploding every bone in my body. That would suck. The group sat silently for a moment before Ritsu spoke up. You have a strength-enhancing stockpile quirk, correct? Yes, Ritsu. Did you find any useful information? Izuku asked. I couldn't find anything on your specific type of quirk, but I found some information on both stockpile and strength enhancement quirks. The closest match to your quirk I found was Fat Gums. Based on yours and others' analysis of him and the other quirks I've found, I've compiled a quirk control guide. I will start with the method most likely to work, and then make my way from there. Try to visualize the stockpiled energy. Tell me how you visualize it. Izuku took a deep breath and closed his eyes. He pictured roaring flames. A bright, blazing energy. A flame. I picture it as a flame. People harness flames by containing them and adding or removing fuel. A gas stove or a fireplace. They are used to cook food and or heat a house. Oh. Speaking of cooking food, I should conduct the energy evenly across my body to not overdo it in one area. It'd be good to have a flat power boost. I think that's also the most efficient way to use my quirk. Good point. Try imagining turning down the dial on the stove or the fireplace and conducting the heat throughout your body. Izuku took another deep breath and focused on the raging inferno in his heart. He furrowed his brow and imagined turning the fuel down to a manageable level. He felt the energy warming up his core, and he spread it evenly from the tips of his fingers to his toes. Electricity danced across his body, and Hawks gasped. Hawks gasped, and Hitoshi stared in awe. Opening his eyes, Izuku flexed with power coursing through his veins. It was only 15% of his full strength, and his bones creaked as they were at their limit. He stretched and got into a running stance. In the blink of an eye, Izuku bounded across the training grounds and bounced off the trees. Izuku dug his feet into the soft dirt, then tucked into a roll to stop. "Holy crap!" Izuku yelled. "First try, and no exploded bones!" "I am the best teacher!" Hawks declared. "Be proud to be my first and only students." Eventually, the ruckus died down, and the outcasts devised their final plan. They had 3 weeks before the end of the school year, and the end of the world if they failed. It was the last week of the school year, aside from the hopeless tension around the class. It was a typical Tuesday. Ichina was fiddling with something in the back of the classroom as per usual. Ritsu was calculating something, Izuku was scribbling in his notebook. Kuro-sensei was teaching in the front of the classroom, and Hawks and Yelovich were off planning lessons for the day. Ichina's project blew up, an everyday occurrence, but the noise and profuse amounts of smoke obscured the sounds of contraptions activating and Ritsu's guns positioning themselves. Through the smoke, Ritsu's guns provided cover fire and Hawks' feathers joined the assault. Large curtains made of strands of anti-sensei BBs trapped the teacher in place as Hitoshi and Yelovich joined the fray. Yelovich set off the sprinklers and the fire alarms. The sprinklers pulled the smoke out of the air and slowed Kuro-sensei. Hitoshi fired at the teacher from the rafters. Just when the teacher was at his limit, Ichina detonated his final trap. Sudden explosions of BBs flew the air and removed most of the octopus's tentacles. Green lightning caught the attention of some of the flabbergasted students, and a green blur shot through from the back of the classroom. The class fell silent. The BBs and the dust settled. The chalkboard fell to the floor. Izuku stood over Kuro-sensei's body, his back to the class as his teacher dissolved into sparkling yellow particles. Hitoshi hopped down from the rafters. Ichina came up from his seat, and Hawks and Yelovich walked in from the doorway. The outcasts gathered around their deceased teacher and kneeled to pay their respects. The assassination classroom had served its purpose, and the world was saved. When Izuku bloodied his hands with the assassination of his teacher, he saved the world. He became a hero. Chapter 10. Graduation. The final day of the school year was usually a day of celebration, but that was not the case for Class 3E. It was a somber day, and there was extreme tension between the outcasts and the rest of the class. Ichina had let it slip that they weren't sharing the money with the rest of the class, and they were not happy about it. Not only had the outcasts killed the teacher they learned to love and care about, but they also took all the prize money. Izuku justified their decision with the fact that the class never helped with their plans, and the money was going to people who contributed to the kill. Hawks and Yelovich walked into the room with solemn expressions and boxes in hand. Silently, the teachers passed out the contents of the boxes. Every student received a dictionary-sized book named Itinerary for Life. It was a callback to the itineraries Kuro-sensei made every time the class went anywhere. The students also received yearbooks, and the outcasts got their own editions tailored to their little group. Hawks was the one to pass out the final part of the deceased teacher's farewell gifts. They were individual gifts to help the students with their desired careers. Ichina got a toolkit and a special pair for their desired careers. Itana got a toolkit and special goggles that dimmed automatically when there was an explosion or when he was welding. Ritsu was given portable hardware and a software backup. Hitoshi and Izuku received the same thing, a special suit designed to be worn under whatever they chose as a hero costume. It covered their entire body from the neck down, and they were so thin it was nearly unnoticeable. And they were made of a mix of Kevlar and Koro-sensei's near unbreakable cells. The Kevlar would take the brunt of any anti-sensei attacks, and the cells would repair any potential damage to the suit. The final part of the suit was dubbed the secondary vocal cords. The support item, for lack of a better term, would modify the user's voice before it left their throat. The way it worked would allow Hitoshi to use his quirk freely, unlike with the standard voice changer. The class wept and Izuku bawled when he saw the note left, especially for him. Koro-sensei knew Izuku would be the one to deal the final blow, and the teacher congratulated him. It was Thursday. Middle school had ended yesterday, and high school would start on Monday. The outcasts, including Yelovich and Hawks, had gathered at a cafe to celebrate a job well done, and split the prize money. Hawks placed 4 briefcases on the table, everyone's portion of the prize money. Here's your government-issued hush money, the pro chirped. I don't care what the octopus told you to do with it in that itinerary, I think you should keep it. You won't make as much money as an underground hero, and trust me, having a few extra spending money will come in handy as a hero. And you deserve it too. You guys pulled off the impossible. Thanks, Hawks, Izuku said. Call me Keigo. I'm not your teacher anymore. I'd rather be like an older brother figure. Hawks then passed the group each a slip of paper with messy handwriting. My personal and work phone numbers. Only contact my work number for emergencies. I also put down the address of my hero agency and apartment. My door will always be open to you kids. Yelovich, you need to check in with me first. Hey, why do those brats get an open invitation and I don't? Yelovich whined. Because they're my little bros and Ritsu is an AI. You are likely to do something inappropriate, Hawks quipped back, and then handed a set of keys to each of his former students. Thanks, Keigo, Hitoshi muttered. The purple-haired brainwasher seemed to be contemplating something. Itana hummed in agreement. So, I took the liberty of submitting your hero costume ideas. Or, I guess, your requested support gear anyway. I took the liberty of getting your support items made by the company that makes my gear. Only the best for my baby brothers. Hawks grinned. They should be ready by the beginning of the school year. You didn't need to do that, Izuku objected. I insist. I already have FU money, so I used my portion of the prize money, Hawks added. I got you a few extra things too, but those will be with your hero costume. They're gonna be a surprise. He shot Hitoshi and Izuku a cheeky smile. Yeah, so that was up to chapter 10 of this fic. I've been considering trying to see whether or not I can start branching out into fics that other authors write instead of just posting my own stuff that I've written. I mean, I've got a lot of stuff that I've written, so it'll probably take a while for me to cover everything I've done, but I figured people might get a little bored of the same type of writing style. So I figured shake it up and try and see if I can find some other fics to Podfic by different authors. So if you've got some recommendations, that'd be nice. I'd love to do something like that, but for the sake of normalcy, I mean, because there's still a lot more to this fic. I'm not even done writing it. and there's another 7 chapters after this one, after chapter 10. There's just a lot of stuff to do. But that's the end of the whole assassination classroom part of it. Now we've got UA to worry about. Boy, does time fly, huh?